You trade well when the market is calm. Follow your rules, respect your stops, execute your plan. Everything works like it should. Then volatility hits. News drops, price spikes, candles stretch. Your setup appears, but now it's moving fast, really fast. And suddenly, everything you practice disappears. You hesitate, you doubt, you move your stop, you exit too early or too late, you freeze or you panic. The session ends, and you tell yourself, I lost discipline under pressure. The volatility got to me. I'll do better next time. But here's the truth you won't admit. Volatility didn't destroy your discipline. It revealed your discipline never existed. What you call discipline in calm markets is just comfort. You follow rules when following rules feels safe, when the risk feels manageable, when you're not actually being tested. But the second pressure enters, real pressure, the kind that activates fear, your discipline evaporates. Not because you lost it, because it was never built. If this makes you defensive, good. That means I'm right. Because traders with real discipline don't collapse under pressure. They don't follow rules in calm markets and break them in volatile ones. They execute the same way regardless of conditions. That's what discipline actually means. You don't have discipline, you have performance, and performance breaks the moment conditions change. Until you see that difference, you'll keep blaming volatility for exposing what was always missing, real commitment to your process. Let me show you what's actually happening. In calm markets, you execute well because there's no real test. Price moves predictably. Your stop feels safe. Your target feels reachable. There's time to think. So you follow your rules, not because you're disciplined, because following rules doesn't require discipline when nothing challenges you. But then the market shifts. News drops. Volatility spikes. Price gaps. Suddenly your stop is 50 pips away instead of 20. Your setup is moving so fast, you have 3 seconds to decide, not 30. Now there's a real test, and you fail it. You tell yourself, I couldn't handle the pressure. The conditions were too extreme. I'm not ready for that level of volatility. No. The conditions revealed you. Discipline isn't following rules when it's easy. That's just compliance. Discipline is following rules when every part of you wants to break them. And under pressure, you wanted to break them. So you did. You moved your stop because the loss felt too big. You exited early because the speed felt too scary. You hesitated because the risk felt too real. None of that is losing discipline. That's showing you never had it. Here's the pattern. Calm market. You risk 1 R, hold to target, respect stops. You feel disciplined. Volatile market. You risk 0.5 R because it's moving too fast. You exit at 0.8 R because I don't want to give it back. You widen your stop because it needs more room. You didn't lose discipline. You revealed that your discipline was conditional. It only existed when conditions felt comfortable. The second discomfort entered. It vanished. That's not discipline collapsing. That's the illusion of discipline being exposed. Mark Douglas studied traders for 15 years. He found a consistent pattern. Amateur traders believe they're disciplined because they follow rules in practice accounts or calm markets. But the moment real pressure enters, money they care about, volatility they fear, conditions they don't control, their behavior changes completely, and they blame the pressure. I lost focus. The volatility got to me. I'll work on staying calm. But Douglas found something brutal. The traders who lost discipline under pressure never had discipline. They had comfort. And comfort isn't discipline, it's the absence of challenge. Real discipline is only visible under pressure because that's the only time it's actually required. You know this is true because you've seen it in yourself. You can trade perfectly for 2 weeks, follow every rule. Then one volatile session destroys your progress. And you tell yourself, I need to work on my discipline. No, you need to admit you don't have discipline yet. What you have is the ability to follow rules when it's comfortable. That's not the same thing. Discipline means you execute your system regardless of how you feel, regardless of market conditions, regardless of fear. If your execution changes when conditions change, you're not disciplined. You're reactive. And reactive traders don't survive because markets don't stay calm. Pressure is guaranteed. And when it comes, it will expose you every time. This is why you can watch 100 videos on discipline, read 10 books, take notes, make plans, and still break your rules under pressure. Because you're trying to add discipline on top of a foundation that doesn't exist. You're practicing execution in conditions that don't test you, then wondering why you collapse when conditions finally do. It's like training for a marathon by walking on a treadmill. You feel prepared, but the second you face the real thing, your preparation means nothing. Here's the truth that's going to hurt. Professional traders don't have better discipline under pressure. They have the same discipline under all conditions. They don't stay calm in volatility. They don't manage their fear. They execute their process exactly the same whether the market is calm or chaotic. Not because they're superhuman, because they train discipline under pressure, not in comfort. You trained in comfort. So when pressure arrived, you had nothing. Let me make this concrete. You say you're disciplined because you follow your rules in backtesting, in replay mode, in small-sized trades during low volatility. But that's not discipline. That's practice without consequence. Discipline is following your rules when you're down 3 trades in a row and want revenge. Volatility is so high your hands are shaking. The loss would actually hurt your account. Every part of you is screaming to break the rule. That's when discipline is real, because that's when it costs something to maintain it, and you've never trained for that. So when it arrives, you collapse. Here's what you're not seeing. You think discipline is a skill you develop, like learning to read charts or calculate risk. But discipline isn't a skill. It's a threshold. Either you cross it or you don't. Either you execute your system under all conditions or you don't. There's no working on discipline or improving discipline or building discipline. Sure, there's commitment or there's excuse. You're committed to your rules when conditions are comfortable. That's not commitment. That's preference. Real commitment is unconditional. It doesn't negotiate with fear. It doesn't adjust based on volatility. It doesn't break when pressure enters. You know what the most dangerous part of this is? You've convinced yourself volatility is the problem. If the market wasn't so crazy, I would have followed my plan. If the news hadn't dropped, I would have held my stop. If conditions were normal, I would have been disciplined. All lies. Volatility isn't the problem. Volatility is the test. And you failed it. Not because volatility is too hard, because your discipline is too weak. The market doesn't owe you calm conditions. It doesn't care if you're ready for volatility. It moves. And it punishes traders who need perfect conditions to execute. Daniel Kahneman found that people dramatically overestimate their ability to perform under pressure. In calm conditions, they believe they'll stay rational during chaos. But the second chaos arrives, their behavior changes completely. And then they blame the chaos. I wasn't prepared for that. I need to work on stress management. No. You need to admit that your discipline in calm markets was just comfort pretending to be strength. And comfort doesn't survive pressure, only real discipline does. The screen becomes a mirror. Every time pressure enters and you break your rules, it shows you your discipline was conditional. Every time you execute well in calm markets but collapse in volatile ones, it shows you you're practicing performance, not building discipline. Every time you blame volatility for your behavior, it shows you you're still avoiding responsibility for who you actually are under pressure. And who you are under pressure is who you actually are. Everything else is just performance. So here's where you are right now. You execute well when conditions are comfortable. You collapse when they're not. And you keep telling yourself, I need to work on staying disciplined under pressure. That's not the problem. The problem is you're trying to add discipline to a foundation built on comfort. You can't build discipline by practicing in conditions that don't challenge you. You can only build the illusion of discipline. Real discipline is only built under pressure. By executing your process when every part of you wants to break it. And you haven't done that yet. So you don't have discipline yet. I'm not going to tell you practice in volatile conditions or trade smaller size until you're comfortable. Because that misses the point. You don't need more practice. You need a different relationship with your rules. Right now, your relationship is conditional. I'll follow my rules when conditions feel manageable. But discipline requires unconditional commitment. I follow my rules regardless of how I feel or what conditions exist. That shift from conditional to unconditional is not a technique. It's a decision. Either you're committed to your process under all conditions, or you're not committed at all. Mark Douglas said something most traders ignore. The market doesn't care about your comfort level. It only cares about execution. And execution under pressure is the only execution that matters. You've been executing under comfort, calling it discipline, feeling proud of yourself. But the market doesn't reward execution under comfort. It rewards execution under pressure. And the second pressure arrived, you showed the market exactly what you're made of. Comfort, not commitment. Volatility will come again. Pressure will return. Conditions will challenge you. And when they do, you'll face the same choice. Execute your system despite discomfort and prove your discipline is real. Or break your rules because it feels safer and prove your discipline was always performance. One builds a trader, the other builds an excuse. Stop blaming volatility for exposing you. Stop telling yourself you lost discipline when you never had it. Stop practicing in comfort and expecting it to prepare you for pressure. Discipline isn't built in calm markets. It's revealed in volatile ones. And what's been revealed about you is clear. You follow rules when it's easy and break them when it's hard. That's not a volatility problem. That's a commitment problem. Comment below and tell the truth. When was the last time you broke your rules under pressure and blamed the market conditions? Drop the date. What happened? No excuses. Because if you can't admit when volatility exposed you, you're still pretending your performance is discipline, and the market will keep exposing that lie until you face it.